Welcome back to the channel, guys, and in today's video we are going to see a triple dragon team, and one of the dragon is Zekrom, which I've used for the first time in the GoBattle League. So I was pretty excited to use Zekrom in particular, and triple dragon team is something that I wanted to try, but I just didn't have enough candies and everything to make one. But now that I have these Pokemon's three legendary dragons, I probably will feature this video, and if you will enjoy the video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And if you're already subscribed to the channel, a big thanks to all of you. Also, if you want to join the Battleset Discord server, the link to that is in the description down below. So without further delays, let's start with the battles and see how the battle goes. So we are in a Melmetal Lead, and this lead is particularly neutral. You just want to watch out for something like Superpower. And as you can see that currently I'm running Wild Charge and Outrage at this moment, but I'll later switch Outrage to Crunch because Crunch is more energy efficient, but Outrage has its own merit. I think it hits really hard onto something like Groudon or even Dialga for that matter, but the Crunch is since it's energy efficient, I think it's the way to go. So we will not be able to get to another I mean, there is no point in going for Outrage, but Wild Charge will grab the last shield of this Melmetal, and they knock us out with the Togekiss, which is quite good because now this poor shieldless Togekiss will just get iron headed, and this iron head will not knock it out, but it will put the Togekiss into Dragon Breath farm down range. And I don't need to worry in particular about the Melmetal, because Melmetal we do have Giratina to handle that Melmetal, and I'm totally expecting a Dialga in the back. So they come in with Melmetal, so maybe they don't have Dialga, they might have a Giratina in the back. Hence you see me shield, and I farm some bunch of extra energy and catch on this superpower, potentially a superpower. So I think that's a really good catch. And in comes this Lugia. So I'm not really sure why the opponent didn't turn up with Lugia in the first place. Maybe they wanted to throw the superpower, or not really sure, because this Lugia is just going to get Shadow Ball, and now we can survive one Sky attack. This is too early to be an Aeroblast, though it takes five Dragon Tails to get to a Sky attack. So I throw the Ominous Wind immediately because the Giratina was getting low. So I throw this Ominous Wind, and now the Melmetal will not be able to farm us down. So I go for this Ominous Wind because I thought that the switch timer is almost up, and I do have an Iron Head ready for this Melmetal. So Melmetal will just get deleted by we will be able to secure the win by after throwing the Iron Head. So even though it's kind of a meme team, but the team in my opinion is really strong in certain cases, and I was able to climb a good 80 to 90 points with that. And as you can see that I'm currently at 2743. This is definitely with this team, not definitely with this team, it's a different team, but I was so close to getting to expert for the first time. And the one game that I missed, I really misplayed. That probably was the reason that I wasn't able to get to the expert today itself, but hopefully in tomorrow's battles I will be able to reach expert. So regardless, despite of the fact that this is a meme team, I think this still really performs well. So you can see that we are in a Togekiss matchup, and both of our Pokemon are kind of weak, but Dialga, being the Dragon and Steel typing, win this Togekiss matchup in one shield scenario. As long as you manage to shield a flamethrower, they'll definitely go for a flamethrower. So this is quite good for us because we will be able to beat this Togekiss to the next charge move, and the opponent tries to catch on an Iron Head, but I think it will turn out to be very bad for my opponent because they took in some Dragon Breath damage, and now the added on Dragon Breath damage will make this will be enough for the Giratina to for us to be knocked it out. And now the Togekiss does not have a lot of energy health on Giratina to farm us down, and hence we will be able to get to this Iron Head, and I think the Iron Head should barely be able to take the Togekiss out. So yeah, good game. And moving on to the next one, let's see. And we are in a Giratina matchup, and this is where Zekrom is an advantageous dragon over Giratina, because Giratina cannot really handle Zekrom too well. And this is where you definitely would want to have Crunch over Outrage, because Zekrom gets to Crunch and Wild Charge almost at the same time. And this Wild Charge will do enough damage to knock the Giratina out, but you will have to lower your defense severely in order to do that. So in comes the Groudon with their Mudshot. So Groudon in the back is really can really be a problem for this team. Mudshot Groudon, it's still okay, but Dragon Tail Groudon will be a problem. So you do need to watch out for. You do need to watch out for that. So we go for this Ominous Wind bait, and that was a very risky bait which the opponent did not pick. And I really think that my baiting game is not really too good at this point of time, because like the every freaking bait that I try to pull off doesn't really end up too good. So again, the opponent eventually shielded the Ominous Wind now, and I'm not really sure that they will be shielding this, because are they shielded that? I think that was the play, because they would have been the Groudon was in Ominous Wind range. So I made a mistake there of sacking my Dialga, because I was thinking that there might be a Melmetal in the back, especially since they were running with the Togekiss Lead. And they go for this Fire Punch, and now they come in with Melmetal. So probably I think I still think that sacking Dialga was not the correct play, because that way we or I'm not really sure, but yeah, that was the play that I thought, or I thought that the Groudon, we will be able to KO the Groudon before they'll be able to get to an Earthquake. But definitely misplay from my end. Probably could have gotten a better, probably could have played in a better way. But yeah, it is what it is. GG's. Moving on to the next one, we are in a Giratina altered matchup, and they throw 2 Shadow Claws and then they just leave. Maybe they were too scared of Zekrom, but yeah, I appreciate that. GG's. Moving on to the next one, picking up another positive lead in the form of the Giratina, and I think Master League Classic especially is all about the leads, and the most common leads are you'll see are Dialga, Giratina, and Melmetal. So besides Dialga, I think this team really does well against Melmetal and Giratina leads. And with the Dialga leads as well, I have noticed that Dialga leads especially are weak to Dialga swap-ins. So if you you definitely would want to swap to Dialga, and if your opponent swaps out, then it's bad. But if your opponent decides to stay in, then it's probably very good for you, because once Dialga is out, I think both Giratina and Zekrom will be able to handle the backline as well. And I was really I really thought that I probably have lost this game, but the boost really helped that, because Ominous Wind just chunked that health away from that Giratina, and in comes the Melmetal. So what I would do here is I would wait for Melmetal to throw a superpower, because that way they'll lower their attack and defense. And at this point there is no use for Dialga, because for the opposing Giratina we do have a Zekrom which will do fairly well up against that, and I don't need to shield anything here coming in from the Melmetal. And at this point I have already swapped to Crunch instead of Outrage, so we will be able to get to those moves fairly quicker. And now I think I will go for Wild Charge now, because Crunch at that range will not KO, but going for Wild Charge will mean that I would need to lower my defense, but we will be able to Dragon Breath down, and the opponent does a really great job in catching this Crunch onto their Giratina. So I do an undercharge in the expectation of getting some extra energy, because the Melmetal will need to throw 2 superpowers in order to take us out. So definitely I would want to shield the first anything that the Melmetal throws. So they throw a superpower, and they are already at another superpower. So let's see if we are able to survive this. We are not able to survive this, and that Saxo up onto the Giratina really saved them the match. So yeah, good game. Moving on to the next one, we are in a Togekiss lead, so I swapped to Dialga, and this Togekiss is staying in, which is good news for our pretty much our entire team, because even though Dialga goes down from here, we will at least be able to pressure both the shields off of this Togekiss, and yeah, shields down, I think we will be able to secure a knockout from our Zekrom. So I shield this Ancient Power, and we are not, the opponent swaps out, and I think this was really a very smart play from my opponents, because now they will be able to farm down our Dialga with the mud shots. And I come in with Groudon. I come in with Giratina because Zekrom doesn't really have a play up against that Groudon. Potentially, I could have come in with Zekrom as well. I get a boost which is super huge, and again, like, the boost is saving me this time around as well. So this Fire Punch is not going to do anything now. Yeah, this Fire Punch is not going to do anything, and we can safely farm down. And in comes this Togekiss, which is basically going to get deleted with a Shadow Ball. I think even a non-boosted Shadow Ball would not have KO'd, but in comes the opposing Giratina, and we get to the Shadow Ball, and the Shadow Ball will be able to knock out. So yeah, I'm sorry to my opponent that the boost happened, but yeah, it is what it is. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose with the boost. So yeah, good game. Moving on to the next one, we are in a Lugia matchup, and this matchup is fairly neutral because Lugia cannot do really anything with the charge moves because those are resisted, but Lugia instead is doing super effective damage with the fast moves, which does add up quickly because Zekrom is not one of the very bulky Pokemons. So they farm a bunch of extra energy, which I think is a very smart play from my opponent. Maybe they recognize that Zekrom will not be able to Zekrom will be resisting all the charge moves basically. So they swap into Landorus. This is incarnate form, right? Yeah. So they swap into Landorus incarnate form, and now I'm just going for the Ominous Wind bait because I'm not expecting them to shield, to be honest. But we will be able to farm the Landorus down for some extra energy. So we are almost at another Shadow Ball, and I was expecting this to be a Sky Attack, to be honest, but they straight away go for the Aeroblast, and I save 2 shields for my Dialga. Maybe it can be a risky play, and probably I should have shielded the Aeroblast and this shield, which indicates me that they might have a Kyogre in the back, especially since they led with Lugia, which is weak to Melmetal, and I am fully hoping that they have a Kyogre in the back, and they do have a Kyogre. So that was probably an instinct swap. I should not have done that maybe, but we will be able to get to this Draco before the Kyogre gets to a charge move. I think they were at Surf already, but maybe they were trying to go for a Blizzard and try to bait out a shield. But yeah, we will, even with the debuff field, we'll be able to farm this thing down. So yeah, GG's. Moving on to the next one, and we are in a Yveltal matchup. So this matchup is still neutral for us. The opponent swaps out to their Dialga, and I swap into Giratina, which was not the correct play in my opinion. But since they were leading Yveltal, I thought that this was the correct play at the time. But definitely I should have come in with Dialga. But because since they led with Yveltal, I am definitely expecting that there will be a Melmetal in the back. So yeah, I think I eventually throw this game away. So you will see what happens. So they come in with Yveltal, and which is still surprising for me because Dark Pearls will hit for some decent neutral damage but will not be enough to KO. And my thought process was that either I secure a knockout or grab a shield of this Yveltal, which they shield, and now make a swap to Dialga. And let's see if the opponent brings out a Melmetal. So they probably want to bait a shield out with the potential Focus Blast. So they go for this Dark Pulse, and now I was counting the fast moves. So they come in with a Kyogre. So yeah, my call was wrong in this case. They are rocking a Kyogre in the back, so they do not shield the Iron Head. And I remember this game, this is going to get quite interesting now. So we go for another Iron Head, and they are still not at a Blizzard. So I was expecting a shield at this point of time, but they do not shield, and it's just going to be a Surf. So we will actually be able to survive this Surf, and we'll be able to farm this thing down. And Yveltal is almost at no energy, and we are able to catch on this this Dark Pulse onto the Zekrom, and Dialga will be able to farm down before the Snarl damage even registers. So yeah, that was a very close game indeed, and yeah, good game. Moving on to the next one, we are in a Dialga Lead, and I immediately swap into Dialga of my own, and they come in with an Excadrill. So this is probably the worst thing that I could see in this matchup, and I play it even like this thing was probably the bad thing that I could have seen, and I probably could not have played this even worse than how I already did. So I know that it's a losing matchup, and still I end up double shielding my my Dialga, and this, yeah, I think I became too overconfident with this team, and yeah, you'll see me just doing a top left in this case, because that Dialga is going to just go on a rampage now. So yeah, it's a learning curve, but moving on to the next match, we are in a Garchomp match. So this matchup is still neutral because both of us are doing super effective damage with our fast moves, and since they are running Dragon Tail, they will not be able to spam those sand tombs as fast as with the mud shots. So they go for a sand tomb. It takes 5 Dragon Tails to get to a sand tomb, which I don't shield because I want to come in with the Dialga to get ahead on energy with the Garchomp. Fortunately, we are able to farm the Garchomp down completely, and in comes the Melmetal, and I straight away go for Draco. I do not want to wait for them to throw superpower, and I need to invest a shield in. So now I swap to Giratina, and they have a Lugia in the back, shiny Lugia instead at that. So this is looking quite good. All I need to do is take care of this Lugia, and then Melmetal, since it took on the Draco meteor damage, we will be able to do massive amount of damage onto that with a Shadow Ball, and I think Ominous Wind along with few Shadow Claws will be able to knock them out. So they shield the what was that thing? They shield the Ominous Wind, and now I respond by investing a shield of my own, and Lugia will get to another charge move, which is not quite good for us because that Melmetal is absolutely loaded on energy. And what I do here is very smart, that I swap into Dialga, and I was not expecting to catch a Rock Slide or something, but even if they end up throwing the superpower, they'll be lowering their attack and defense. And meanwhile, Dialga has put in a lot of damage to bring this Melmetal into an Ominous Wind range. So since the Melmetal is already debuffed, this Rock Slide will not KO us, and we will be able to throw this Ominous Wind to take out that Melmetal. So I think swapping into Dialga was really critical at that stage, because Melmetal was absolutely loaded on energy. So yeah, good game. Moving on to the next one, picking up a neutral lead, I would say, because both of us are doing super effective damage, but Dragonite will be able to get to the Dragon Claw faster than we get to a Crunch. So I shield the Dragon Claw because I want to get at least even on shields before leaving this match. So but I do a mistake here, that I overfarm by a lot, which allows the Zekrom to be in a farm down range, and fortunately the opponent throws a charge move, which is good for us, but we lose the CMP, but we are even on shields, so even if they have a Togekiss in the back, we can handle that with our Dialga. So I come in with Giratina, because since they were running Dragonite, they are definitely more likely to have something like Excadrill or Melmetal in the back, because Dragonite is weak to both Togekiss and what was that thing and Dialga, and Excadrill counters both of those Pokemon pretty well. So let's see what they have in the back. They have a Melmetal, and just seeing the Giratina, they surrenders. Maybe they could have won if they saw my third Pokemon in the back, to be honest, but yeah, it is what it is, and GG's. Moving on to the next one, we are again in a Melmetal lead. So the strategy is straight away simple, that we go for Crunch, and if I get to another charge move, then definitely I'll go for a Wild Charge. And these Thunder Shocks are double resisted by Zekrom, so they are barely not doing any damage. So they go for back-to-back Rock Slides, and I think they still beat us to the next charge move, which will be a superpower. So I shield in the expectation of winning the switch. I farm some extra energy and go for this Crunch. Let's see if the opponent decides to take this to one shield matchup. So the opponent lets go of the Melmetal, which is good for us. So they come in with Dialga of their own, and I swap into Dialga because, as I said, generally the Melmetal leads like Melmetal and a Dialga or a Togekiss are weak to Dialga swap-ins, because Melmetal is weak to ground types, and is weak to Groudon and Kyogre. So Melmetal pairs really well up against Giratina, and hence I swapped to my own Dialga because I didn't want their Dialga to farm a lot of energy, and our Dialga have just chunked away at this Dialga and just basically reduced it to dust. So they have a Mewtwo in the back. Certainly not what I was expecting, to be honest, but yeah, it's still something that Giratina will be able to handle pretty well, especially since they took the Ominous Wind bait. And since the first Shadow Ball does not KO, I do not shield this one, ends up being a Side Strike only. So they will be able to spam those Side Strikes, but I think we beat them to the next charge move. Not Shadow Ball potentially, or we are able to beat them to the Shadow Ball because Mewtwo was out of energy at that point of time. So Dialga will be just go down with a couple of Shadow Claws, and yeah, good games. Moving on to the next one, we are in a Kyogre lead. So this is probably the best possible lead that we could see with this team, because Kyogre really is shut down by this team, especially with all the dragons running around. So they swap in with their Dialga, and now I pair my own Dialga up against that one, and I continuously monitor that what are my opponent CPs on their Dialga, because mine is 14 defense. So it may lose in certain conditions, so I definitely would want to keep an eye on that one. And in comes Togekiss, and once the Dialga goes down, Togekiss is really can really be a problem for this team. But still, since we are on an even shields, I think Zekrom along with Giratina will be able to handle this Togekiss pretty well, especially that I know that they have a Kyogre in the back which cannot really do up against our team. So we go for this Wild Charge, and Wild Charge will get shielded. Now I make an immediate swap to my Giratina, and I think I don't shield the Ancient Power here, or I shield the Ancient Power, which is quite surprising to me as well. So we go for the Shadow Ball, and I was praying and hoping that that this Shadow Ball will be enough for the KO. So I think they swapped, but that was just a visual glitch. I think that damage onto the what was that thing, that Togekiss registered. So we go for this Shadow Ball, which takes a lot of health away from the what is this thing, Kyogre, and we are not able to get to the charge move before Kyogre gets to a surf. This will allow Giratina to go down, and the Kyogre will be able to get to another surf, which is not quite good, because Charm will be able to knock us out after the surf damage and the added waterfall damage. So really that game was really clutch towards the end, especially like with even though we were left with our two poor dragons up against a fully loaded Togekiss, and if only we were able to get to the what was that thing, get to the Ominous Wind, or Zekrom didn't eat one waterfall, I think we would have been able to pull the win off. So yeah, I think still it counts as a meme team, but you can potentially be able to you will be able to win a lot of games if you don't see something like an Excadrill or a Groudon in the back. Dragontail Groudon especially is a problem. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you really enjoyed it, and I am at 2743, so hopefully I'll be able to get to expert pretty soon, and I'll post the team if I get to expert with that one. And until the next time, peace.